Welcome to the deep dive. Ever wondered about that fax claim option on your health insurance?
Hmm.
Today, we're pulling apart how it works, specifically looking at Muang Thai Life Assurance.
Right. We've got some info from their website, some online discussion too.
Exactly. And our mission really is to make fax claim crystal clear. What is it? How does it actually work when you need it?
What are the real plus points?
Yeah, and where things might get a bit sticky.
And how it stacks up against, say, direct claim or those PA cards.
Precisely. Okay, let's get into it.
Absolutely. It sounds straightforward, but like you said, there are some details worth, understanding.
Mm-hmm.
So at its core, One Thai Life's fax claim, it's a service designed to smooth out the claims process,
Okay.
mainly when you're hospitalized as an inpatient, IPD. That means generally staying over 6 hours.
Right, the 6-hour mark.
Yeah. And it can sometimes cover certain outpatient procedures too, but that depends on your specific plan.
Got it. So the big idea is skipping that upfront payment at the hospital.
Exactly. At the participating ones anyway.
And Wong Tai says they have over 300 of those.
Yeah, over 300 nationwide, which is pretty extensive coverage.
That feels like a big shift from, the old system. I remember it often being pay first, ask for the money back later.
Oh, absolutely. Fax claim aims for speed and convenience, taking that immediate financial worry off your plate.
Which must be a huge relief when you're, actually in the hospital.
Definitely. When you're unwell, the last thing you need is stressing about a big bill right then and there.
Makes sense.
Fax claim sort of shifts that initial burden. The hospital and insurer talk first.
Allowing you to focus on getting better.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And it can speed up discharge, too. No waiting around to settle up.
Okay, so how does it actually work? If I'm admitted to one of these hospitals, what's step one?
Pretty simple, really. You just need to show your Muang Thai Life policy card
Okay.
and your national ID card or your driver's license. That's your key, basically.
Right. Card and ID. Then the hospital takes over.
Yeah, they handle the next part. They'll contact Muang Thai Life directly to verify your coverage.
Check what's covered, what the limits are, that sort of thing.
Exactly. They check the policy specifics.
Yes. Okay, so that's happening in the background. Then you just get your treatment as the doctor planned.
Mhm.
What happens when it's time to go home? Discharge day.
Right. On discharge day, the hospital gathers all the needed claim info, medical summary, costs.
All the paperwork.
Yeah. And they send it off to Muang Thai Life Assurance. Now, it's called fax claim.
But it's probably not actual fax machines anymore.
Likely secure digital channels these days, yeah. But the name stuck.
Got it. So the insurance company has the details. How fast do they typically turn it around? The sources mentioned a time frame.
They did. For general cases, Muang Thai aims to process it pretty quickly, usually within about 30 to 60 minutes.
Wow, that's impressive compared to waiting days or weeks for reimbursement.
That's a big difference. That's one of the main selling points, that speed.
But I guess it's not always 30 minutes. Some cases might take longer.
Oh, for sure. If it's a more complex situation, or maybe they need a bit more information,
Right.
it could understandably take longer than that initial window. They need to be thorough.
Makes sense. And how do I find out the result? Do they call? Email?
You typically get an SMS, a text message to your registered phone number.
Okay.
It'll say they've received the documents and finished their review. It's a quick heads up.
Okay, so that's the ideal process. Smooth sailing. But what are the potential snags? Things we need to be aware of? Conditions or limitations?
Absolutely, there are definitely conditions. First off, always check your policy card for the effective date of your coverage.
Right. Coverage has to be active.
And the treatment you're getting needs to actually be covered by your specific policy terms. Sounds obvious, but crucial.
Yeah, knowing your policy is key. What else?
Waiting periods.
Yeah.
Your health insurance rider, the part covering health specifically, needs to be past any waiting period.
Those initial periods where certain things aren't covered yet.
Exactly. They can be 30 days, 90 days, sometimes 120 days, depending on the condition of the policy. If you're still in that period for what you're being treated for.
Fax claim won't apply.
Probably not. You'd likely pay first and use direct claim later.
Okay, waiting periods. What about paying the premiums? Does that matter?
Hugely important. You need to be up to date. If your premiums are overdue, even if you're technically in that 31-day grace period some policies have, you'll almost certainly have to pay the hospital yourself first, then file a direct claim.
So keep those payments current if you want to use fax claim.
Definitely, it avoids that hassle.
And what if, for whatever reason, the hospital or Muang Thai says fax claim isn't possible right then? Are you just stuck?
No, not at all. You still have the option of submitting a direct claim after you're discharged.
Okay.
It just means you follow the reimbursement route instead of the upfront coverage. Your underlying insurance is still there.
Right. So even if fax claim works, are there still potential costs for me? Or is it completely free at that point?
Good question. You'll still need to cover any costs that go above your policy's limits.
Ah, okay. So if my limit for room and board is X, but the hospital charges more?
You pay the difference.
Right.
Or if there are deductibles or copays in your plan, fax claim covers the covered expenses up to your limits.
Right. The final approval always comes down to the policy terms and conditions.
Always.
So that leads to the next question. Why might a fax claim not get approved right away? What triggers that need to pay up front?
Well, several reasons we've sort of touched on. The illness itself might be listed as an exclusion in your policy.
Things that just aren't covered, period.
Exactly. Or maybe it falls under a specific limitation. That won't go through fax claim.
Okay, exclusions. What else?
Those waiting periods again,
Hmm.
if you're still within the 30, 90, or 120 days for that condition.
Right, paying claim back later.
Yep. And overdue premiums, even
Yeah.
within the grace period, as we mentioned.
Okay. Any other common reasons?
Sometimes they just need more information to make a decision. This can happen with conditions that might have developed over time.
Like what?
Things like maybe certain tumors, gallstones, hemorrhoids, especially if your policy is quite new, say only a year or two old.
Ah, they're checking if it might have been a pre-existing condition before you got the policy.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
They might need more history or investigation to confirm when it started.
I see. So that takes more time than the standard 30, 60 minutes.
It can, yes. Or maybe they're waiting for specific test results, like a biopsy report that wasn't ready at discharge.
Or just incomplete information sent from the hospital initially.
That too. Or, again, the policy being in that grace period. All these can lead to needing to pay first.
Okay, so fax claim is the streamlined attempt. If that doesn't work, or for other claims, there's direct claim. Let's clarify the difference.
Okay. The biggest difference is upfront payment. Fax claim aim for no upfront payment at participating hospitals for those covered IPD and some OPD things.
And it's potentially faster, at least for the initial review.
Right, that 30, 60-minute target. Direct claim, on the other hand.
You pay first.
You pay first, then you gather your documents, the claim form, original bills, medical
To the
summary,
next step.
and submit it to Muang Thai Life. You could do that at a branch or often online now through their MTL Click app.
And direct claim is used for?
For outpatient visits, generally, or if fax claim wasn't used or was denied.
Mm-hmm.
Also for things like daily hospital cash benefits. And, of course, if you went to a hospital not in their fax claim network.
Right. Non-participating hospitals would always be direct claim.
Usually, yes.
What about the processing time for direct claim once you submit everything?
If all the documents are complete and it's straightforward, they usually process it in about 3 to 7 business days.
Okay, that's not too bad.
But if it was a claim where maybe fax claim was initially denied, or if they need more information,
Mm-hmm.
it can take longer. The policy allows up to 90 days for the company to investigate and gather necessary details.
Wow, 90 days is quite a potential wait compared to maybe an hour with fax claim.
It's a significant difference, yeah. Depends on the complexity.
Okay, now let's quickly touch on PA cards. Personal accident cards. How do they fit into this? Are they like fax claim?
Not quite. PA cards are specifically for accidents.
Yeah, only accidents.
Right. Medical treatment needed because of an accident. They usually have a set coverage limit, like maybe 20,000 bad, 50,000, 100,000.
Like a pot of money just for accident medical costs.
Exactly. Often as a lump sum for those expenses.
So they're different from the broader health insurance that fax claim uses for illness.
A very different purpose. Fax claim is tied to your main health policy, covering sickness and maybe planned procedures, based on all its specific terms. PA card is just for that accident scenario.
Is using a PA card at the hospital easier than fax claim, say, if you break your arm?
It can often be simpler, yeah, because it's usually that straightforward lump sum for accident care. It might bypass some of the detailed checks needed for a general health claim via fax claim.
Okay, so PA for accidents, fax claim for illness under the health plan. Got it. Now, someone online asked a really good question. Can you actually check before you go into the hospital if your fax claim is likely to be approved? Sort of avoid the discharge day surprise.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ultimately, the final decision happens at discharge based on the actual treatment and diagnosis. However,
Yeah.
for planned, non-emergency things, you might be able to get pre-authorization. contacting Wongtai beforehand to check coverage for a specific planned procedure.
Okay, pre-auth. But is that a guarantee fax claim will work smoothly later?
No, unfortunately not a guarantee. It gives you a strong indication, but things can change based on the final diagnosis or treatment details. Policy terms, waiting periods still apply at the time of service. The claims team makes the final call based on the info they get from the hospital then.
So even if you check beforehand, there's still an assessment that happens right at the end.
Correct. Which is why agents, for example, really shouldn't promise guaranteed fax claim approval for every illness. It's just not how it works.
Right. And the company can still investigate further if needed. Right. Up to 90 days.
They reserve that right, yes. So even with pre-auth, there's a small chance you might need to pay first and claim back if complexities arise during the final review.
Understanding your actual policy details seems like the best defense against surprises then.
Absolutely. Know your coverage, limits, waiting periods, exclusions.
Okay. We mentioned submitting direct claims online via the MTL Click app. So there are digital options beyond just the hospital handling fax claim.
Yes, definitely. For direct claims, Wongtai offers online submission through their website and that app.
So you don't have to physically mail documents or go to a branch if you don't want to?
Exactly. You can upload the scans or photos of your bills and forms electronically. It's much more convenient for many people.
That's good to know. Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. What are the main things people should take away about fax claim from Wongtai Life?
I'd say number one, fax claim is a real convenience. It aims to let you get inpatient treatment and some outpatient at participating hospitals without paying upfront.
Big plus.
But its approval depends entirely on your policy terms. Is the treatment covered? Are you past the waiting period? Are your premiums paid?
Right. It's not automatic.
No. And there's always a chance the insurer might need more info, meaning you might have to pay first and use direct claim for reimbursement.
And direct claim is the standard pay first claim back method used for out-of-network, outpatient, denied fax claims.
Exactly. And PA cards are separate, specifically for accidents.
It's definitely a system with benefits, but you really need to understand your own specific policy to navigate it smoothly.
That's the key takeaway, really. Know your policy.
Thanks. That really clarified a lot. So for our final thought today, thinking about how fast tech is changing healthcare, how might processes like fax claim evolve? Could we eventually see instant, totally transparent claim approvals right at the bedside?
Ooh, interesting. Real-time verification.
Yeah. What are the possibilities there? Using digital tools to make the whole experience even more seamless for you, the person actually needing the care?
It's definitely something to watch. The intersection of health insurance, hospitals, and tech. It's moving fast. It can get very interesting.